friends, it's Mrs. Walker. For our lesson today, we're going to talk about problem solving, and we're going to use the strategies that we've learned to solve some word problems. So our learning goal for today says, I can solve one-step and two-step word problems using place value strategies. So friends, those place value strategies that we've learned have to do with like tape diagrams and number bonds and the arrow way. So we're going to get to use those awesome skills that we've learned and apply them to word problems. So the materials that you'll need for this lesson are your dry erase board. So make sure you have that before we get started. All right, friends, so today it's super important as we're using our strategies and we are solving word problems that we are using the RDW process. So that means that you need to read the problem. You need to draw a model that matches your problem. So using like a tape diagram or a number bond or the arrow way. And then you need to write your answer and then you need to write it in a statement also. So make sure that you are doing those parts. I will model them for you in the lesson, but make sure that you're also doing them on your own as well. All right, friends, so here is our first problem. It says Don has 34 brownies. He bakes 22 more. How many brownies does he have now? So let's solve this problem using one of the following strategies. So we could use a tape diagram, an arrow way, or a number bond. So I want you guys to pause the video, solve this problem using one of those strategies, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. Otherwise, let's talk about this. We're doing some baking with these brownies. Delicious. So our problem as we're looking, we have 34 brownies and he bakes 22 more. So when they're baking more of something, I know that's going to be an addition problem. So I can model this with a tape diagram first. So here I have 34, 22. If I add the total, or add those together to get the total, that's going to be the missing part of my tape diagram. So that part I'll fill in once I maybe use one of my other strategies. So here I'm going to use the arrow way also to show you. So I'm going to start with 34. I'm breaking apart my 22 into 20 and 2. Okay, so I'm breaking apart the 10s and the 1s. So now I'm going to add 20. So 34 plus 20 is 54. And then I have to add 2 more to make 22. And then I get 56. So 34 plus 22 is 56. You can also model this with a number bond. We had our whole, but we didn't know what that whole was. That's what we were solving for. We did know that there was 34 brownies, and he baked 22 more. So once we have our two parts, we can solve for our whole, which is 56. So the statement that we would write would be Dawn has 56 brownies now. Okay, so let's take a look at another one. Sam has 46 red apples and some green apples. He has a total of 88 apples. How many green apples does he have? So for this problem, you guys are going to solve this one on your own using one of the strategies. But remember, we don't know one of our parts, right? We know that there's red apples, 46 of them, and some green. So I'm not sure how many green there are, but I do know that there's a total of 88. So I want you guys to pause the video, use a strategy that you'd like to try and solve this problem. Okay? If you're stuck and stumped, it's okay. We're going to go over it together, so that's fine. We're going to work as a team. So go ahead and pause the video, try and solve this problem using one of those strategies, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, here we go. So my problem that I came up with was that I knew the total was 88 apples. Well, I knew that there was 46 red ones, but I didn't know how many green there were. So I could turn this into a subtraction problem. So 88 minus 46 equals my amount of green apples. So I can start by modeling this with a tape diagram. So here I have 46, and then I'm adding some green apples, but I don't know how many that is. But I do know that my total is 88. We can also model this with a number bond. So we have 88. We know that there's 46 red apples and some green apples. So friends, one of the strategies that I love using is the arrow way. And when I use the arrow way, I love to use it to solve with subtraction problems because I start with the smallest number and then I add on to get to the biggest number. It's kind of like using the empty number line also. So if I start with 46, I need to go until I get to 88. So if I have 46, I can make a big giant jump of 40. Okay, because it's easy for me to add 46 plus 40 because there's that friendly number with a 0 in it. So 46 plus 40 equals 86. I'm not quite there yet to 88, but I'm really close. So I can stop and I could say 86, 87, 88. Oh, that's only 2 more. I can add 2. So 86 plus 2 is 88. Now, here's the other thing that I want you guys to notice, is that I made a big jump of 40, but you don't have to do that. You could make smaller jumps of 10, so you can have 46 plus 10, which would be 56, plus 10 more, which would be 66, plus 10 more, which would be 76. I'm not at 86, so I got to, or 88, so I got to keep going. Plus 10 more is 86. So you could make those jumps of 10 just like you could do a jump of 40. Either way is fine to be able to show your thinking. Now, I got to 88, but how do I know how many green apples there are? Well, friends, that has to do with those numbers that we jumped in our arrow way. So this is 40 and 2. So 40 plus 2 is 42. And that's how many green apples that we have. Okay, so to write this in a statement, you would say Sam has 42 green apples. So make sure that you're writing that also in your work. All right, let's take a look at another one. Ooh, vroom, vroom, here we go. So there are 31 students on the red bus, and there are 29 more students on the yellow bus than the red bus. Ooh, that's a tricky one. How many students are on the yellow bus? So we know that there's 31 on the red bus, but there's 29 more than that on the yellow bus. So friends, I want you guys to pause this video and try and solve this using a tape diagram or a number bond or the arrow way, whichever strategy you prefer, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, let's talk about how we solve this problem. So I'm going to model this with a tape diagram because it helps me visualize what the problem is asking me. So here's my red bus, and there's 31 students on the red bus. Here's my yellow bus, but I don't know how many are on the yellow bus. But what I do know in the problem is it told me that there's 29 more on the yellow bus than on the red bus. So I'm going to write this here and say that this amount of space right here is worth 29 more, right? Because that's what it told me in the problem. It says there are 29 more students on the yellow bus than on the red bus. So because of that, I could add that little part to my tape diagram. So then that tells me that I need to combine the red plus my 29 more to find out how many are on the yellow bus. So with this problem, what I'm going to look at is I'm going to say, you know what, that 29, oh man, it is so close to a friendly number, that next 10 of 30. So I'm going to sneak some parts away from this 30. So I'm going to break it, I'm sorry, from the 31. So I'm going to break that 31 into a 30 and a 1. I want that 1 because if I combine 29 plus 1, that gives me 30 of another friendly number. And that's what I love, those friendly numbers or those next 10 numbers. So then I'm going to add the parts that I have left, which are 30 and 30. Well, that's an easy one to do in my head, right? 30 plus 30 equals 60. So to write that in a statement, we would say there are 60 students on the yellow bus. Okay? All right, so let's look at the next part. So I'm going to add on a step to this problem. So same problem up there that we just solved for, but now we're finding out how many students are on both buses combined. So what I want you to do for this problem is we figured out that there were 31 students on the red bus, or we knew that, and that there were 60 students on the yellow bus. So now I want you to find out how many students are on both buses combined. So pause the video, solve that problem, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. Otherwise, here we go. So here's my red bus and here's my yellow bus, right? We talked about that last time. We just solved that in the part 1 of the problem. Step 1. This is step 2. So step 2 is 31 and 60. If we're going to combine those, that's how we're going to find out how many students are on both buses. So now I need to add 60 plus 31 on to solve our problem. So we have 60 plus 30 equals 90, plus one more, right? Because 30 and 1 make 31. That gives us 91. So maybe use the arrow way to solve that. So there are 91 students on both buses. All right, friends, let's solve one more problem together. So here we have Miss Lopez cut 46 centimeters of yarn. Miss Hamilton cut 22 centimeters less than Miss Lopez. How many centimeters of yarn did Miss Hamilton cut? So, friends, that kind of reminds me of how we just did the last problem with the buses. But for this one, they're saying they have less, right? So Miss Lopez has 46 centimeters of yarn, and Miss Hamilton cut 22 centimeters less than Miss Lopez. So now you guys have to pause the video and solve for how many centimeters of yarn Miss Hamilton cut. So pause the video, solve that using the tape diagram, number bond, arrow way, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with that tape diagram to model my thinking. So here I have Miss Lopez, 46 centimeters. And then I have Miss Hamilton. Well, she had less than Miss Lopez, right? She cut 22 centimeters less than Miss Lopez. So her part of the tape diagram is going to be smaller. But I know that it's 22 centimeters less. So I'm going to label that for like my other chunk of the problem. So because I'm missing one of the parts, I'm going to subtract to solve this problem. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to break apart the 22 into 20 and 2 because I like those friendly numbers. So as I subtract, I'm going to have 46 minus 20, which that's like 4 tens minus 2 tens, right? So that gives me 26, and keep those ones in there. And then I'm going to subtract 2 more from that. So 26 minus 2 is 24. So Miss Hamilton cut 24 centimeters of yarn. Okay, let's take a look at step 2 of this problem. I'm going to add in another part for us. So this is the same one, but step 2 is going to be how many centimeters of yarn did they have all together? Okay, so we knew that Miss Lopez from our last problem had 46 centimeters of yarn. And now we solved and said that Miss Hamilton had 24 centimeters of yarn. Well, now I want to know how many centimeters of yarn did they have all together. So go ahead and pause the video, use any strategy you'd like, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. All right, here's my tape diagram. So here's Miss Lopez. Here's Miss Hamilton, right? 46 centimeters for Miss Lopez, 24 centimeters for Miss Hamilton. Now I'm going to combine those because we're saying all together. So I know that we're kind of pushing these two parts together to make a whole. So now I need to solve that. So 46 plus 24. Well, I'm going to break apart this 46 into a 40 and a 6. And I'm going to break apart this 24 into a 20 and a 4 because I want those friendly numbers. So when I did that, I can see right away that, oh my gosh, that 6 and 4, that makes a 10, right? That's my make a 10 facts. So 6 plus 4 is 10. Well, now I'm going to add 40 because that's my other part of the problem. And then I'm going to add 20 because that's one more part of the problem. So now I need to be able to solve 10 plus 40 plus 20. So those are all friendly numbers, so I can help do that in my head, right? So I need to find the total for that. So I could do 10 plus 40, which is 50, right? Or you could do 110 plus 4 tens, which is 5 tens, and then add 20 more. So then I get 70. So Miss Lopez and Miss Hamilton have 70 centimeters of yarn all together. All right, so hopefully you guys got that one too. You'll have more practice on your problem set later. So high five to you guys. So awesome job problem solving using place value strategies. Please head back on over to the module to see what you need to complete for your independent practice. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, friends!